The movie opens with Louise, a brilliant linguist who specializes in decoding complex languages. We also see glimpses of her personal life, where she appears to have a daughter suffering from a devastating illness, one that ultimately claims her life. Yet as the story unfolds, it becomes unclear whether this daughter truly existed in the past or if she is a vision of what might come in Louise's future. Louise works as a university professor when the world is suddenly shaken by an extraordinary event. 12 enormous alien spacecraft descend at different locations across the globe. The ships hover silently above the ground, their presence sparking global fear and uncertainty. No one knows why they've come or what their purpose might be. The US military soon reaches out to Louise, remembering her expertise in languages from past collaborations. Colonel Weber presents her with a recording of the alien transmission, hoping she can interpret it. But Louise quickly explains that this language is unlike anything on Earth and cannot be deciphered without face-to-face interaction. She is then transported to one of the landing sites, where she is joined by a physicist named Ian. Together, they enter the colossal ship, only to discover that its gravity works in reverse, allowing them to walk on surfaces that defy human logic. This strange environment demonstrates just how advanced the alien technology truly is. Inside, Louise and Ian come face to face with two towering extraterrestrial beings. With 7 limbs and an otherworldly presence, these creatures are later named heptapods. Communication at first seems impossible, as their language bears no resemblance to human speech. Determined to make contact, Louise returns with a whiteboard and writes the word human, pointing to herself. The heptapods respond by creating mysterious circular symbols, their written language. Each intricate pattern has no beginning or end, suggesting a way of thinking completely alien to humans. Louise struggles to grasp their meaning but continues her efforts. On a later visit, Ian brings a bird into the ship as a test to see if the atmosphere is safe. When the bird survives without harm, Louise and Ian are able to remove their protective suits. Louise then writes her name on the whiteboard, followed by Ian. The aliens respond with 2 distinct circular symbols, which Louise assumes to be their names. Yet the deeper meaning of this language remains hidden, waiting to be unlocked. For weeks, Louise and Ian make daily visits to the ship, recording and studying countless symbols drawn by the heptapods. At the same time, other nations hosting alien vessels are also attempting communication and reluctantly sharing their discoveries. Progress is slow, but eventually, Louise begins to make sense of fragments of the alien language. During one session, she asks the heptapods why they have come to Earth. In response, they produce a complex symbol that she translates as weapon. The word instantly alarms the military and governments worldwide. To them, it sounds like a direct threat. But Louise argues that the meaning might not be so simple. The heptapods' language could carry multiple interpretations, and the symbol might also mean tool instead of weapon. It could be a gift, not a threat. Unfortunately, few are willing to see it that way. Fear quickly overtakes reason. Tensions rise sharply, and trust between nations begins to collapse. When China interprets the word as a threat of war, it immediately cuts off all communication with other countries and warns that unless the aliens leave their airspace, they will respond with military force. Following China's lead, other nations also pull back, refusing to share their findings. The world teeters on the edge of global conflict. Meanwhile, panic spreads within the US camp itself. Fearing that the aliens are hostile, a group of soldiers secretly decides to take matters into their own hands. They smuggle explosives into the ship, setting a timer to force the aliens to retreat or be destroyed. What they don't realize is that the heptapods understand far more than they think, and are already trying to communicate something far more important. During one critical visit, Louise is asked to write directly on a transparent glass panel inside the ship. As she carefully writes, the heptapods respond by producing a cascade of intricate circular symbols, filling the space with their cryptic language. But suddenly, the aliens sense danger. They detect the time bomb planted by the rogue soldiers. Without warning, they disable the ship's gravity, sending Louise, Ian, and the soldiers tumbling helplessly toward the airlock. In the final seconds, the aliens seal Louise and Ian outside the chamber. The door shuts just before the bomb detonates, sparing their lives. The explosion tears through part of the ship, and in its aftermath, the vessel that once hovered close to the Earth suddenly rises high into the sky, retreating beyond human reach. Now, no one can enter without the aliens' consent. The military interprets this as retaliation. Panic spreads through the base as leaders assume the attack has provoked the aliens into preparing for war. Back on the ground, Louise and Ian pore over the latest symbols collected before the explosion. What they uncover is astonishing. The messages from all 12 ships form fragments of a much larger puzzle. If humanity could share its findings, the pieces might fit together into a complete message. But distrust between nations prevents collaboration. China, Russia, and others remain silent, each preparing for conflict rather than cooperation. As the pressure mounts, Louise continues to experience haunting visions of a young daughter, a child she has never actually had. The visions feel real, yet impossible, leaving her shaken and uncertain whether she is losing her grip on reality or glimpsing something beyond time. In one powerful vision, a smaller vessel separates from the mothership and draws her inside. There, she struggles to breathe at first but soon adapts to the alien atmosphere. A heptapod communicates directly with her, revealing the truth: they did not come to conquer or destroy humanity. Instead, they have arrived to offer help. Their written language, with its endless circular patterns, is not merely words but a gift, a way of seeing time itself differently. By learning it, one can perceive the past, present, and future all at once. As Louise begins to grasp their language more fully, she realizes the visions are not dreams at all. They are windows into her future. Inside the alien vessel, Louise finally learns the full truth. The heptapods reveal that in 3,000 years, their own survival will depend on humanity's help. This is why they came, not to wage war, but to share their gift, their language, a tool that allows humans to perceive time in a nonlinear way. By teaching this, the aliens ensure that when the time comes, humanity will be ready to aid them. Armed with this revelation, Louise is returned safely to Earth. Soon after, she experiences a powerful vision of the near future, a world where leaders stand together, celebrating unity instead of division. What began as a global crisis is now on the verge of becoming a turning point in human history. At a diplomatic gathering, Louise encounters General Shang of China. He tells her something astonishing: if she had not personally contacted him during the crisis, the world might have plunged into war. Louise is confused, she has no memory of ever making such a call. Yet Shang insists she did, even showing her his private number, which only she could have known. In this vision of the future, Louise recalls delivering a message that changed his heart, the final words of his dying wife: "There are no winners in war, war only produces widows." Moved by this truth, Shang abandoned his plan for a military strike, preventing catastrophic conflict. Inspired by China's restraint, other nations also stand down, canceling their planned attacks. With the danger averted, the 12 colossal ships slowly rise into the sky and vanish, returning to their distant homeworld. Their mission on Earth is complete. In the years that follow, Louise publishes a groundbreaking book explaining the alien language. Those who study it gain the same ability she has, the power to perceive past, present, and future as one. But for Louise, this gift is both a blessing and a burden. In her visions, she sees her future with Ian. They fall in love, marry, and have a daughter together. Yet she also knows the tragic truth: their child will suffer from a terminal illness and die young. When Ian discovers that Louise already knew this fate but chose to live it anyway, he feels betrayed and eventually leaves her. In the end, the daughter we saw at the beginning of the story was never a memory of Louise's past, but a vision of her future, a glimpse gifted by the aliens through their language. They revealed this to prepare her, teaching her how to embrace the fullness of life, the beauty, the love, and the inevitable loss. Though Louise knows her future holds heartbreak, the illness and death of her child, and the collapse of her marriage with Ian, she chooses to live it anyway. She accepts that the future cannot be changed, only understood, and in that acceptance lies her strength. The heptapod's purpose becomes clear. In 3,000 years, their own world will face destruction, and they will need humanity's help to survive. By teaching humans their language and their perception of time, they ensured that one day, the two species would be able to work together. Their origin, their homeworld, and their greater mysteries remain unknown, left deliberately hidden. And so, the story of arrival closes, a tale not of invasion, but of communication, unity, and the courage to embrace life as it comes.